Hi everyone, it's Kennedy McChrystal, and I'm here today to share with you the professional book study that I completed in one of my summer master courses at Eastern. So, for this professional book study, we were required to select a text and work as a collaborative group in literature circles each week, as well as finding an area of need that our students were demanding and using the text and strategies to help us incorporate a lesson into our classroom. I worked with two other teachers for this project, one in fifth grade and one in kindergarten. So I've kind of seen this book be used and the strategies be used in several different types of classroom environments. So I'm super excited to share with you today about the text and how I can be a support to you, and the text can be a support to you to develop this high impact, low stakes writing. So, this is called Joy Write by Ralph Fletcher. So, this is what the text looks like. It's pretty cheap on Amazon. I also have a copy if you ever want to scan through it. It's pretty short and a quick read, but has lots of useful information. So, to outline the text, if you are wanting to find a way for your students to fall in love with writing, then this is a great resource for you. It focuses a lot on using the words like low stakes, high impact, and it wants to get our students engaged. So, it discusses in one of the very first chapters about how this beautiful writer's workshop that I'm sure several of you have used or maybe have been using has lost its spark because we put so much emphasis on expectations and requirements, especially aligned with our state standards, that our students aren't able to have an opportunity to practice writing freely and with choice. And so, writer's choice was something that my group specifically studied as we read this book and as we worked with our students this summer. So, the text also made a metaphor comparing student writing with a hot air balloon. And I kind of want you to envision this with your students in the past and also considering the upcoming school year. And if we aren't giving our students an opportunity to be invested in writing and feel empowered to write, then their writing balloons won't soar. And so I want you to consider that as you go through these next slides and see how you can support the hot air balloon that your students are with writing. So the text made many different metaphors and analogies, but one of my favorites was the writing greenbelt. So a direct quote from the text was, "Many teachers find themselves trapped between a rock, which is the rigid curriculum, and a hard place where students no longer love writing. And so we have to find the happy medium between the two of ensuring that our students are getting that curriculum, but also loving writing as well, because we know if their hearts aren't in it, they're not going to be giving their best effort." So the text defined the greenbelt as an invisible line around a certain area to preserve the wildlife and prevent harmful development in a region. Now, read that again, and as you read, I want you to think about that compared to writing. So now, a writing greenbelt or greenbelt writing is writing that is raw, unmanicured, and uncurated. And that means that we are preserving this love and opportunity for writing within our students without the specific guidelines or expectations that we may have for them, and just allowing them to practice freely as writers. This informal writing allows students to rediscover the power of writing that is personal, passionate, joyful, playful, humorous, and reflective. So I want you to consider the writing greenbelt as we move forward. So, like I said at the beginning, we were to decide as a group an area of need for our students, which I was blessed to practice with my summer school group. And we talked a lot about how students just aren't engaged in writing anymore. And I'm sure that that's something that you've probably seen across the board in all classes. So we had to incorporate a writing strategy found in the text. And so my group focused on the Slice of Life Challenge. So the Slice of Life Challenge is found in chapter 6 of our text, and it is a short story writing opportunity where students can write about a slice of their life or just a short personal story that they can complete in their writer's notebook and can share. This can just be a daily power write for students, but it's very informal. It's very low stakes, and it really develops enthusiastic writers. We know that students love to talk about themselves and write about themselves, and so incorporating this daily or weekly or monthly allows for students to practice being a fluent writer and feel enthusiastic and empowered with their writing. So with this informal writing, I had my students focus on different experiences that they all shared. This developed a sense of community and understanding of our diverse differences in our room. So along with this being a writing activity, this can really support a classroom community in discussing how we're all different. We're all unique. We have a diverse group, but that makes us and our classroom so special. So if you would like more information on the Slice of Life Challenge, you can visit this link below, and it gives you all kinds of information or ideas about incorporating the Slice of Life Challenge into your classroom. So the text gave a lot of informal opportunities for writing. I picked a few of my favorites that hopefully one will jump out to you. The first is the classroom notebook. So this is just a notebook where it's one notebook for a classroom where students can grab and write in their free time. They can take it home to write about something to bring back to share. It can be anything, something that happened to them that week, a memory that they had, a funny joke, a short poem. The options are limitless. And what I love so much about this classroom notebook is that students are able to write whenever they want, and they're also able to read and reflect on others' writing. So there's a picture in the textbook of an example, and I loved seeing all of the different annotations from the other students. They were writing directly on the paper, they were putting post-it notes, and it was really developing a community of writers. There was also a informal writing experience called Popcorn and Poetry Fridays. And so this was a chance for students just to casually discuss poetry. It could be something that they wrote themselves. It could be listening to just different poems by a variety of authors. And it really is just a casual conversation about poetry and the meaning behind it. I also loved the class blog. I'm not quite sure exactly yet what platform to use for this, so if you have an idea, that would be great. But this is just an online source where students can share any form of writing as well. It's more of like a classroom notebook, but a digital version. So they could do movie reviews, comics, post pictures, stories, poetry, etc. I mean, the options are limitless. And last, we have the writer's notebook, which I'm sure you're all really familiar with. I vividly remember being in elementary school and having a composition notebook that I would bring home for my parents to assist me in decorating the cover. And that was a space where I could just write freely. It could be anything. And it's kind of funny, I still have some in my closet at home from when I was younger. So these blank pages give students the opportunity to find their voice as a writer and practice fluently. So this is, again, something that I look to incorporate in my room this year. Instead of having students take home their notebooks to decorate, I bought a bunch of little stickers on Amazon that will hopefully invite students into their writer's notebook for this year. So the term feral writing refers to an animal that was once domesticated but has returned to its wild, untamed state. I believe this concept applies here. As the workshop has become more domesticated, kids thirst for the opportunities that allow them to rediscover the raw, untamed power of writing. And that was a direct quote from my text. And so, giving students these opportunities for informal, low stakes writing experiences are just what our students need to rediscover and develop themselves as writers. This can be done through short stories, poetry, journals, social media posts, riddles and jokes, persuasive letters, notes, and signs. And again, this is just reiterating the importance of undomesticating our students in writing and allowing them to be that creative writer that we all know that they can be. And this can be done through so many different experiences for writing, but ensuring that they're informal and low stakes. Those were two of the key phrases found throughout the text. Okay, so I'm sure you're wondering what comes next. So now it's our job to apply all of these skills and strategies and information to our teaching. So, using my slides and a copy of the text, like I said, if you would like to borrow it, you're more than welcome. I challenge you to incorporate at least one of these informal writing experiences into your classroom this year. I would love, I know that we have so many different important focuses this year, especially with our new literacy program, but giving students the opportunity to write informally will support them as they are doing a reader's response or connecting their writing to our new literacy program or our standards. So, I would love for everyone to find at least one of these opportunities for your classroom this year. And hopefully, at some point in the year at a staff meeting or a professional development, we can kind of share our findings and see how we are developing a classroom community of writers and supporting them in Greenbelt writing and being feral. So let's see. So now I'm thinking about my own classroom. I was highlighting and marking in this text like crazy. So if you borrow my copy, it's a little bit of a mess, but writing is one of the top priorities on my list this year. Last year, with being virtual, I felt as though we didn't have enough appropriate opportunities to practice writing, especially as students were learning a keyboard. So focusing on high impact, low stakes writing is at the top of my priority list. The text said that a skilled writing teacher draws from knowledge about writing, knowledge about teaching, and then knowledge about the students themselves. So that is kind of the mindset that I have going into this school year. Being familiar with writing and some of these experiences that my students can have, knowing how to teach them or guide them, and then also learning about the students themselves and applying that to the activities that we do with writing. Of course, this can be done in the very first week of school as we learn our students and learn them as writers, and how we can incorporate these findings into this informal writing instruction. Another quote that stood out to me in the text that really stood out to me said, "We teach the writer, not the writing." So this reflects on steering away from the content-based or standardized writing experiences and allowing us to teach becoming a writer. So, like I said, there were so many different experiences that I loved in this text and want to incorporate in my classroom. And to name a few that I have already started to consider is the classroom notebook, the writer's notebook, and the blog. So if you have any questions about any of those or anything about this text in general, please email me, ask me, come borrow my text. I would love for this to be just a small slice of our daily writing incorporation into our classrooms. So here is the text again if you have any questions about that. And thank you all so much for watching my presentation. I'll be attaching the Google Slides so that you have access to this and to some of the embedded links as well. So again, thank you so much. And I really would like for our school community to focus on these high impact, low stakes writing opportunities. Have a good school year.